It started as just another routine traffic stop. At least, that's what Officer Ryan thought. A black woman driving a sleek sedan had rolled through a stop sign, and as he approached her window, things quickly took a turn. She seemed calm, composed, but when he asked for her ID, she hesitated. That was enough for Ryan to grow suspicious. The tension thickened. She wasn't resisting, but something about her confidence unsettled him. Maybe she had a record. Maybe she was hiding something. Without waiting for explanations, he decided to take control. Moments later, she was in cuffs, her expensive watch glinting under the streetlights. But just as he reached for his radio to call it in, his partner's voice cracked through the silence. "Oh, Ryan, you might want to take another look at that ID." Ryan glanced down, and what he saw changed everything. Ryan's grip tightened around the ID as he read the name again. His chest felt heavy. The woman he had just arrested wasn't some random driver. She was a state senator. Senator Olivia Carter. His stomach dropped. How had he not recognized her? He glanced up, meeting her steady gaze. There was no panic in her eyes, no anger. Just something else, disappointment. Amusement? He couldn't tell. His partner shifted uncomfortably beside him. "Ryan, we might have a problem," he muttered under his breath. But Ryan wasn't sure what the real problem was, arresting a state senator, or the fact that he had assumed the worst before even knowing who she was. Olivia finally spoke, her voice cool but firm. "Is there a reason I'm in handcuffs, officer?" Ryan hesitated. His training had prepared him for high-pressure situations, but nothing like this, and he had no idea what was coming next. Ryan swallowed hard, his mind racing. This wasn't just an embarrassing mistake, it was a career-threatening one. His partner shot him a worried glance, but neither of them knew what to say. The street was quiet except for the distant hum of traffic, and in that silence, Olivia Carter stood tall, her hands still cuffed behind her back, waiting. Ryan forced himself to speak. "Senator Carter, he stopped. What could he even say? That he'd misjudged her. That he had jumped to conclusions based on nothing. Olivia tilted her head slightly. "What exactly did you think I was doing?" she asked. Her voice wasn't raised, but there was an unmistakable weight to her words. Ryan didn't answer. He didn't have to. The answer hung between them, unspoken but obvious. Before he could reach for his keys to undo the cuffs, Olivia's phone buzzed in her pocket. She turned slightly. "You should probably answer that," she said, "because if I do, this night is going to get a lot more complicated for you." Ryan hesitated, his pulse quickening. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. His training told him to stay in control, but for the first time in his career, he wasn't sure he was. Olivia's phone buzzed again. This time, his partner took a small step back, as if sensing they were on the edge of something much bigger than just a routine stop. Slowly, Ryan reached for the cuffs, his fingers fumbling slightly as he unlatched them. Olivia rubbed her wrists, her expression unreadable. Then, she pulled her phone from her pocket, glanced at the screen, and let out a small sigh. Without a word, she pressed a button and held it up to her ear. "Yes," she said calmly. "I'm fine. No, don't send anyone yet." Yet, that single word sent a chill through Ryan. Whoever was on the other end of that call had the power to change everything. Ryan's throat tightened as he listened. Olivia's voice was measured, but something about the way she said, "yet," made his stomach twist. His partner shifted beside him, clearly just as uneasy. Who was on the other end of that call? The governor? The police chief? Someone with enough power to turn this night into a complete disaster. Then Olivia did something Ryan didn't expect. She turned away slightly, lowering her voice. He could only catch bits and pieces, words like handled, misunderstanding, and wait. It didn't sound like someone calling to report an unjust arrest. It sounded like something else. Ryan's instincts kicked in. Something wasn't right. This wasn't just about him cuffing the wrong person. There was more to this than he realized. When she hung up, she turned back to him. "You have no idea what's really going on tonight, do you?" she asked. Ryan swallowed hard. Should I? Olivia held his gaze for a long moment, then finally said, You just got yourself caught in the middle of something much bigger than a traffic stop. Ryan's pulse pounded in his ears. This was no longer about a mistaken arrest. Something bigger was happening, and he was standing right in the middle of it. Olivia crossed her arms, watching him carefully, as if deciding how much to say. Finally, she took a slow breath. You think this was just a traffic stop, she said. But what if I told you someone wanted this to happen? Ryan frowned. What are you talking about? Olivia glanced at her phone again. I was on my way to a meeting, a very private one. Someone didn't want me to get there. And now here we are. Ryan's mind reeled. Was she saying he had been set up? Used. Before he could respond, a sleek black car pulled up across the street. Tinted windows, engine running. Olivia turned toward it, then back to Ryan. You're not the only one who made a mistake tonight, she said, but the difference is you still have time to fix yours. Then, without another word, she stepped off the curb and walked straight toward the waiting car. Ryan stood frozen as Olivia stepped into the black car, the door shutting behind her with a quiet thud. Within seconds, the vehicle pulled away, disappearing into the night. He exhaled, his mind still trying to piece everything together. Had he really just been a pawn in something bigger? And if so, who had orchestrated it? His partner let out a low whistle. Man, we just dodged something bad, didn't we? Ryan didn't answer. He just stared at the empty street where the car had been, replaying Olivia's words. He had made a mistake, one based on assumptions. But now he wasn't sure if the real mistake had been stopping her or letting her go. As he reached for his radio, a thought hit him. This wasn't over. Not for Olivia. And maybe not for him either. With that, he got back in his cruiser, knowing this night had changed everything.